I like watching videos and animators sharing their experiences and their job, and I wanted to go ahead and create this video to share my own experience with my own animation project. I've always wanted to create animations. I remember being younger and daydreaming on making my own series or something like that. So far, the only achievement I've made is creating one animation that's kind of the longer end, but hey, at least I finished it. I've had several other projects that I never got around to finish, so that's an accomplishment already. That's a short 5-minute long animation that really took me around a year and a half of work. But being fair, I didn't work on it like non-stop. I was really on and off about it. And I just created that one because I wanted to have sort of like a side project so I can kind of have a break from my biggest, but more on that later. When I started that animation, I severely underestimated how much work it would take and how long it would be. I started it out without a script, or without a lot of it finished already. I remember that I just had a vague idea of what I wanted the premise of the episode to be. It was based on these characters I had created with a friend some years ago, and it was just a way of dumping that lore that we had created back then, so it could be like an actual thing that I could watch over and over, essentially bringing the universe to life. I was definitely aiming for that 5-minute mark, but I really thought that it would just take around a month to finish. So yeah, I was very wrong. And this happened because as I kept working on it, I got more ideas to add to the premise of the episode. I kept adding more things on the script. Not only that, but I also made sure to make some corrections along the way. There were some things that I just felt I couldn't leave as they were back then. And as I felt like I was getting better, I made sure to reanimate scenes or recolor stuff as I redesign characters or such. Of course, it goes without saying that I also had like real life things to work on. I was going to work and I was going through other things, so I wouldn't like work on it daily. When I first started it, I definitely wanted to be working on it daily, but yeah, I was not consistent on that. Thank you, ADHD. One thing about this animation is that I just jumped straight into it. I didn't have like a workflow to follow or times to schedule things. And that's what I like about this series that I'm animating, that I don't necessarily take it too seriously, and most of the times all I have to work with is my voice notes on my phone. Whenever I'm like somewhere else and I get an idea, I just record it on my phone, and then I don't know, I try to build the script around that.
Eddie, can we talk?
Oh, can't you wait until, I don't know, until you forget and don't want to talk anymore?
As I was working on it, I finally got lazy in some parts. And you can tell the parts that I wasn't too excited about, and I just like did things that don't look too good. And as I was getting closer to finishing the whole animation, I just lowered my standards on the quality. And that's fine. This project wasn't meant to be taken seriously. It was just a way for me to keep working on animation without being burned out by working on my bigger project. Just some technical details on this specific animation. I did it on Adobe Animate. I did it directly on my laptop, which is this model. I don't know it by heart, so I'm just gonna put a picture of it. It has like the touch screen and the stylus, so yeah, just did it right in there. The audio, I recorded it on a simple mixer with a whatever microphone. I just threw all of that into Audacity, and yeah, it's very simple. And of course, I wasn't gonna just jump into it blindly. I did work on some, concepts for what I wanted the characters to look like. I did some tests on recording the voices, so I could like get how I wanted to voice act for each of the characters. So even if I want to think that I didn't put a lot of work into it, I definitely did. Maybe not as much as I'm doing for my other project, but still, it took a lot from it. Even a simple animation like that, it required lots of things to be working on. One thing about this particular animation is that I was just animating blindly. I didn't work with storyboards or animatics or anything like that. I just went ahead and drew the backgrounds and then started animating the characters on top of it, which I think might be difficult to get things right if you do it that way. But again, it's not something I was taking seriously, so I didn't care for that. When I finished it, I went ahead and posted it online. I was hoping for some kind of, huge response, and yeah. Now, I must admit, to some extent, I was doing this for the clout. I was hoping for people to find it and start to gain an audience on that. It doesn't work like that. I just became aware of it, and it was hard to learn that way, because I felt like my work was not being recognized by anyone, and I just did it, and it wasn't paying off really. But at the end of the day, it is paying off. I like going ahead and rewatching that dumb little animation because I find it funny. A lot of the things I put into it are just things that I find funny myself, so it's essentially tailor-made to my taste. So I didn't waste time working on it, because at the end of the day, I'm enjoying working on it. I'm enjoying the process of drawing these creatures, and I'm enjoying doing the voice acting and finally watching everything all in there. There's nothing that's that fulfilling. That's why I understand now. But back when I uploaded that, I didn't see it that way. I got discouraged and thought about scrapping all of the ideas I had for future animations on this same series. But once I understood the rewards of working on something that I liked, I just couldn't, stop. I couldn't just leave it at that and not create more, because I do enjoy it. So if I could give some advice, is understand that your expectations might be too high for the recognition you want to get, or at least if you're anything like me. Now, I don't want this video to be too long and unbearable to watch or hear, so I might need to talk about the other animations and other things in another video if I ever do another one. But when it comes to what I wanted to say right now is that I've learned some lessons working on this animation and others, and I would like to share those with you on some points. Number 1, make sure to be creating for the right reasons. And I'm trying to say that it's not wrong for you to want to have a million watchers on your first animation, but it's definitely hard to work with those expectations, and if that's your only goal, I think it's very difficult to achieve that. You will get discouraged if that's the only reason you're creating stuff. So make sure that you're doing it for the right reasons. In my case, that right reason is that I liked it and that I genuinely enjoy watching them up there. Number 2 is being organized. This 5-minute animation shouldn't have taken 1.5 years to finish. Realistically, that's way too long for 5 minutes of animation. I've achieved more than that in the last 3 months, just being consistent at it. And it doesn't mean working on it daily, but definitely trying to push yourself on those times where you are not feeling very inspired to do it will help you maintain the consistency and eventually pick up the pace and work on the animations at a level where you're, just progressing. Number 3 is that just watching resources on how to animate or how to create this or that, watching tutorials isn't gonna get the job done. It's definitely helpful for you to review those things, but put them into action. Go ahead and apply what you've learned by actually working on your things. That's it, really. And I'm pretty sure that you can hear these advice from a lot of creators online, a lot of videos about this same subject. But you won't really understand what these things mean unless you're very empathetic and know where they come from and can feel like putting yourself in the speaker's place, or unless you have the same experience that finally gets you to understand why this is like important advice. Thank you for watching.